What if the bag sitting on your arm right now is quietly adding 10 years to your look and maybe even straining your shoulders? Lydia Blake, 65, a retired interior designer from North Carolina, had always been known for her eye for detail. But one quiet morning, as she passed a shop window, her reflection stopped her cold. Her once-loved leather tote, soft, oversized, and slouching at the sides, suddenly looked wrong. It made her lean forward, her shoulder drooping under its weight. It didn't reflect the confident, vibrant woman she felt inside. That simple glance stirred something deeper. Lydia realized her style hadn't caught up with her life. She wasn't rushing from client meetings anymore. She was savoring slower mornings, lunches with friends, and peaceful walks. Her wardrobe had changed, her pace had changed, but her bag still belonged to an old chapter. So she decided it was time to align how she looked with how she lived. Have you ever felt that moment when something you once adored suddenly feels out of place? If you have, share your story in the comments, I'd love to know. And before we go further, tap like, subscribe, and hit the new hype button. It's YouTube's way of letting elegant women over 60 rise together, and every hype helps more women rediscover confidence in this season of life. So Lydia took a deep breath, opened her closet, and laid out every bag she owned. 7 stood out immediately, and the first one told a story she didn't expect to face. Bag 1. The oversized slouchy tote. Lydia stood in front of her mirror with her favorite tote hanging off her shoulder, the same one that had been with her through 2 decades of busy mornings and airport gates. It was soft, supple, and full of stories, business meetings, lunch dates, and little keepsakes that had found their way into its corners over the years. But as she caught her reflection, something about it suddenly looked off. The strap had started to slide down her arm again, the bag leaned heavily on one side, and her shoulder tilted forward just slightly. For the first time, she noticed how much space it took up, how it seemed to pull her entire frame downward. What had once made her look powerful now made her look tired. That's the quiet truth many women over 60 discover. Oversized, slouchy totes may feel comfortable and practical, but they have a sneaky way of throwing off balance and posture. As we age, our muscles adjust, our stance changes, and a bag that worked beautifully in our 40s can start to age us in our 60s, without us even realizing it. Lydia didn't need a stylist to tell her, her body was already giving her clues. She found herself switching shoulders more often, tugging at the strap, and sighing each time she set the bag down. When she finally placed it on the table and looked in the mirror without it, her whole silhouette changed. Her shoulders lifted. Her outfit looked cleaner. She looked lighter. So she started experimenting. She tried carrying a more structured, mid-sized tote she'd bought on a whim months earlier. It had supportive handles, a firm base, and a clean shape that held its form. The moment she put it on, she felt the difference. It sat close to her body, didn't slide, and instantly made her feel pulled together. It wasn't about style for youth, it was about comfort with elegance. The right bag, she realized, doesn't just accessorize your look, it corrects it. It can restore posture, lengthen your frame, and add quiet confidence to every step you take. If you've been feeling weighed down lately, it might not be your energy, it might be your bag. Think about how it feels when you wear it. Do you shift it constantly? Does your shoulder ache after a day out? Does it make your outfit feel unbalanced? These are subtle signs that your bag has stopped serving you. The solution isn't to give up practicality, it's to redefine it. Look for a medium-sized structured tote with shorter, firm handles that stay put, and a lightweight but sturdy base that keeps the bag upright. Neutral tones, soft leathers, or woven textures add sophistication without effort. When Lydia made the switch, even her friends noticed. "You look taller," one said. Another commented, "You've changed something, you look refreshed." She smiled, knowing it wasn't just the bag, it was what the bag allowed her to express. It lifted her, not just physically, but emotionally. The weight she'd been carrying wasn't just leather and clutter, it was habit. And letting it go made her feel newly defined, like her outside had finally caught up with her inside. She thought that was the biggest offender, until she found the one that seemed too small to be a problem. Bag 2. The micro purse that can't fit your life. The tiny purse seemed perfect at first, sleek, elegant, trendy. Lydia bought hers on a sunny Saturday morning after her daughter told her smaller bags were in. She loved how dainty it looked in the store mirror, how light it felt on her arm. But by the time she met a friend for lunch, she was already regretting it. Her reading glasses didn't fit. Her hand sanitizer had to stay in the car. She was juggling her phone and keys, setting them on the table between bites. When the bill came, she had to pull her wallet out sideways just to make it fit back in. What started as an elegant experiment quickly turned into an uncomfortable juggling act. The truth is, these tiny purses aren't made for real life. They photograph beautifully, but they rarely work for women who actually live full, layered days. Women over 60 know that life doesn't slow down, it just changes pace. You still run errands, meet friends, maybe care for grandkids, volunteer, or travel. And that means you carry essentials: glasses, tissues, medication, sanitizer, maybe a little snack, a notebook, or even a lipstick and small brush. When your purse can't hold your life, it holds you back. Lydia realized halfway through that lunch that she wasn't enjoying the meal, she was preoccupied with her stuff. She couldn't move freely because her hands were full. That's when she understood what looked youthful was actually limiting. She started paying attention to other women around her. At the farmer's market, she saw younger shoppers with their micro bags tucked under their arms, struggling to hold produce and pay at the same time. It reminded her that style isn't about copying trends, it's about ease. So she went home, took out that tiny purse, and compared it to the rest of her collection. Inside it could barely hold a phone, let alone comfort. That's when she found the one that changed everything, a structured crossbody she'd bought years ago for travel. It was compact but organized, 3 compartments, light as air, and comfortable enough to forget she was wearing it. The difference was instant. She felt more mobile, more independent. She could reach for her glasses without digging. She didn't have to switch the bag from one arm to another just to grab her keys. It made her posture straighter, her pace quicker, her energy calmer. That's the power of the right design. It supports you, quietly, without drawing attention to itself. She noticed people complimenting her not on the bag, but on how put together she looked. If you've ever walked out of the house without something important because your bag was too small, you know that frustration. The micro purse promises simplicity but delivers inconvenience. You don't need a giant tote, but you do need a bag that respects your rhythm. A slim, structured crossbody with a light interior lining, so you can see your things easily, and divided pockets will change how you move through the day. Look for adjustable straps that rest at the hip, not across the waist, so it's comfortable and balanced. When Lydia switched, she realized it wasn't about carrying more, it was about carrying right. She had exactly what she needed, no clutter, no compromises. It felt like freedom, she said later. And freedom, for women in this chapter of life, is the most elegant accessory of all. Now she'd seen both extremes, too big, too small, but the next one wasn't about size at all. It was about image, and weight in a very different sense. Bag 3, the heavy logo bag. Lydia used to love the way her logo bag turned heads. It was her first major splurge in her early 50s, a symbol of long hours, late projects, and finally being able to afford something with her name in gold lettering. The bag wasn't just an accessory, it was validation. She carried it everywhere, proud of the soft leather and shiny hardware that announced, without a word, that she had made it. But time has a way of shifting what feels right. Now, years later, the same bag sat on her shoulder with a different kind of weight. The metal chain strap dug into her skin, the bold monogram glared louder than she felt comfortable with, and suddenly it looked more like armor than elegance. She didn't notice how much she'd outgrown it until one day while running errands. She caught her reflection in a store window and saw something she hadn't seen before, a disconnect. The bag was still beautiful, but it didn't match her anymore. The noise of it, the flash, the size, the statement, clashed with the quiet confidence she'd earned through experience. She no longer needed to prove anything. She wanted her style to say grace, not status. That was the day she realized something every woman eventually learns: true confidence doesn't need a logo. It's not that designer pieces lose their value, they just need to evolve with you. Modern stylists say minimalism now reads as wealth because it signals intention, not excess. A clean, structured silhouette whispers refinement in a way that oversized branding can't. Lydia began observing women her age whose style she admired, women who seemed effortlessly polished. Their bags weren't shouting for attention. They blended beautifully, completing the outfit without overpowering it. And those women looked lighter, more serene. So, she made a change. She sold the old logo bag to a collector and treated herself to something different, a mid-weight, unbranded top handle in soft taupe leather. It wasn't loud, but it was luxurious in its simplicity. The design was thoughtful, the handles were cushioned, the weight distributed evenly, the interior roomy but structured. The first day she carried it, she felt the difference. Her outfit suddenly looked cohesive, her posture lifted, and her shoulder didn't ache by the end of the day. It wasn't about downgrading, it was about alignment. The new bag matched the woman she had become, refined, intentional, and quietly powerful. There's a quiet shift that happens around 60. The urge to impress fades, and the desire to express takes its place. It's not about labels, it's about longevity, function, and authenticity. The right bag should feel like a companion, not a trophy. If your old designer bag feels more like a relic of who you were, it might be time to thank it for its service and let it go. Replace it with something that reflects your present life, something you carry with pride, not for recognition, but for comfort and ease. When Lydia walked into her favorite cafe the following week with her new understated bag, no one commented on the brand, but a friend leaned in and said, "You look peaceful." That was all the validation she needed. Because in this chapter, elegance isn't about what catches the eye, it's about what feels true. Some bags shout too loud. Others whisper so quietly, they forget to help you live. And Lydia's next discovery proved that. Bag 4, the clutch you carry all day. It was small, sleek, and sophisticated, the kind of clutch that made Lydia feel effortlessly polished. She remembered buying it before a charity dinner years ago, drawn to its glossy finish and clean, elegant shape. It became her go-to for special occasions, a symbol of simplicity and class. But one sunny weekend, she decided to carry it to the local outdoor market. It'll be chic, she thought. No heavy straps, no bulky tote, just light and graceful. For the first 20 minutes, it was fine. Then came the juggling act. She bought oranges, fresh bread, and a jar of honey, all while trying to keep her clutch tucked under one arm. Her phone rang, her car keys slipped, and by the time she reached the parking lot, she was balancing everything like a circus act. That's when she laughed out loud and said to herself, "This is not what elegance feels like." The truth is, clutch bags are beautiful but rarely practical for daily life, especially for women who live full, active days. They demand both hands when life demands movement. Lydia realized she had mistaken inconvenience for elegance. The bag didn't make her look poised, it made her look like she was working too hard to appear so. And it wasn't just about effort, it was about energy. After an hour of carrying it, she noticed tension creeping into her wrist and shoulder. She felt restricted, unable to move freely or relax her posture. That evening, she reflected on how her style used to be about presentation, how she wanted to be seen. But at 65, she was entering a phase where style needed to feel as good as it looked. A bag shouldn't interrupt your rhythm, it should move with you. So she began her search for a replacement and found the perfect balance, a convertible clutch with a hidden strap. Still slim, still graceful, but now shoulder-ready when the day stretched longer than expected. The difference was immediate. She could walk through a gallery opening, enjoy a long lunch, or pop into a store without thinking twice about where to place her bag. It no longer demanded attention, it allowed it. There's a misconception that comfort and elegance can't coexist, especially among women over 60. But Lydia discovered that true elegance is ease. A clutch can make an outfit look refined, but if it limits how you move, it steals from your confidence. Style isn't about proving refinement, it's about embodying it effortlessly. The best bags, she realized, make life smoother without asking for compromise. So if you have that clutch sitting proudly on your dresser, the one you swore you'd use more but secretly avoid, don't feel guilty. You're not alone. It served its moment, and now it's time to give yourself permission to evolve. Replace it with a small, convertible version with a thin, adjustable strap that can transform as your day does. You'll still feel elegant, but now your hands and your spirit will be free. The next time Lydia met friends for brunch, she carried her new clutch on her shoulder as they laughed over coffee and pastries. When one of them commented, "You always look so comfortable, but so chic," Lydia smiled knowingly. Comfort had finally become her new luxury. But not all outdated bags were impractical. Some, she would soon realize, were emotional, and her next one carried her past, making it the hardest to let go. Bag 5. The vintage milestone bag. It wasn't just a bag, it was a time capsule. Lydia bought her first real leather satchel the week she landed her first major design contract back in the 1980s. She could still remember the smell of new leather, the weight of it on her arm, the quiet pride she felt walking into that client meeting with something that symbolized independence and success. That satchel became her constant companion through the years: boardrooms, gallery openings, late-night coffee runs. It wasn't just part of her wardrobe, it was part of her identity. But 4 decades later, it told a different story. The edges had softened, the handle had cracked, and the lining inside had given way to small tears. When she lifted it from the back of her closet, she could feel the years written in every mark and scratch. Still, she couldn't bring herself to let it go. That bag represented everything she'd worked for: the long hours, the early wins, the woman she became. But as she stood there, she realized something gentle but true: not everything that shaped you has to follow you forever. She placed it on her dresser, ran her fingers along the handle, and smiled. "You carried me through," she whispered. It wasn't a goodbye, it was gratitude. She decided to restore it, cleaned the leather, replaced the lining, and polished the brass clasps. It didn't need to go back into rotation, it deserved to rest with dignity. When Lydia began looking for a new everyday companion, she didn't want to replace the past, she wanted to honor it. She searched for a bag that captured the same spirit: timeless shape, rich texture, quiet strength. Eventually, she found it: a heritage-inspired modern satchel in soft camel leather, structured but featherlight, with a smooth adjustable strap that sat comfortably on her shoulder. It carried the same confidence as her old one but moved with the rhythm of her life now: lighter steps, easier days, and less to prove. That new bag became her bridge between then and now. It reminded her that growth isn't about discarding your history, it's about carrying it differently. The sentimental pieces we hold on to matter, but when they start holding us back, they lose their purpose. Lydia learned that keeping her old satchel wasn't about wearing it, it was about remembering what it stood for: courage, hard work, and a season well lived. It stayed on her shelf as a keepsake, not a crutch. And in its place, her new bag became a symbol of grace, the kind that moves quietly but confidently forward. If you still have your own milestone bag, pull it out and take a look. Feel the memories, but also ask yourself if it still fits the woman you are today. Sometimes the most empowering thing you can do is give yourself permission to evolve. Restore it if you wish, display it proudly, but don't let nostalgia decide your daily comfort. You've earned the right to carry something that reflects your now. When Lydia walked out one afternoon carrying her new satchel, she felt a sense of lightness that surprised her. It wasn't about letting go of the past, it was about creating space for what was next. Letting go of nostalgia gave her room for something new. But as she soon discovered, even fresh purchases can disappoint, and that's exactly what she learned with number 6. Bag 6. The ultralight bargain purse. Lydia spotted it during a quick stop at a local outlet store, a light beige purse on the clearance rack, marked down to a price too tempting to ignore. It's perfect for travel, she thought. It weighed almost nothing, the straps were thin but soft, and it promised that easy, casual style she loved for weekends away. She imagined strolling through airports, hands-free, unbothered. It seemed like a win: affordable, simple, practical. But that illusion didn't last long. 2 weeks later, on a short trip to visit her sister, Lydia found herself at the airport check-in counter when the strap snapped clean in half. The bag dropped to the floor, spilling her phone, wallet, and reading glasses across the tiles. The embarrassed laughter from the people behind her wasn't cruel, it was sympathetic. "We've all been there." She crouched down to gather her things and muttered, "You get what you pay for." On the surface, lightweight bargain purses seem harmless. They promise ease and freedom, but what they often deliver is frustration and strain. The thin straps dig into your shoulder, the fabric loses shape after a few uses, and the lack of structure means you're constantly digging around to find something. Lydia noticed that when she carried these cheaper bags, her back started to ache after long errands. The material sagged, pulling unevenly against her side, forcing her body to compensate for the imbalance. The problem wasn't just comfort, it was posture and energy. By saving on cost, she was paying in tension. She went home from that trip with a decision: no more fast fixes. The truth is, a bag isn't just an accessory, it's part of how your body moves through the world. It should support you, not strain you. Lydia began researching quality materials, learning how to identify well-made construction even without a designer price tag. She discovered that mid-range structured bags, with reinforced stitching and thicker ergonomic straps, offer the best of both worlds: style, longevity, and physical ease. She found one she loved, a structured satchel in soft pebble grain leather with a firm base and smooth zip closure. The first time she used it, she noticed how naturally it balanced on her shoulder. The bag held its shape, her essentials stayed organized, and she no longer needed to readjust it every few steps. It was light, but not flimsy, elegant, but functional. The shift wasn't just physical, it was emotional. There's something deeply empowering about choosing quality over convenience, especially at a stage in life when comfort is sacred. Lydia realized that the bag she carries says something about how she values herself. "I spent years buying what was good enough," she admitted, "but now, I only buy what feels good for me." That small change brought her quiet confidence. She wasn't chasing deals anymore, she was choosing durability, grace, and ease. If you've ever had a strap snap midday, or watched your purse lose its shape after a month, you know how it feels: frustrating and avoidable. It's not vanity to invest in structure, it's self-respect. Choose something made to last, something that stays upright when you set it down and feels supportive when you pick it up. It doesn't have to be designer, it just has to be dependable. After that airport disaster, Lydia promised herself never to buy just for now again. But as every woman knows, temptation is never too far away. Because the next bag, the final one, wasn't about price or comfort. It was about the one thing every stylish woman struggles to resist, the trend everyone was talking about. Bag 7, the trendy bag everyone else is carrying. It started with a scrolling session one quiet evening. Lydia was sipping tea, half watching a home renovation show, when an ad popped up on her tablet, a neon pink, half-moon-shaped handbag with shiny gold hardware. "This is the must-have of the season," the caption promised. Everywhere she looked, Instagram, magazines, even her favorite online boutique, the same bag appeared, carried by women half her age, styled with crisp blazers and perfect smiles. She hesitated, then thought, why not? A little color, a little edge, maybe it would add freshness to her wardrobe. She clicked Add to Cart. When it arrived, it was undeniably beautiful. The color popped like summer candy, the texture gleamed, the packaging felt luxurious. Lydia held it up in the mirror, smiling at first, but the excitement faded quickly. It didn't go with a single thing she owned. Her linen neutrals, her navy cardigans, her soft rose blouses, all clashed with that loud pink. The next morning, she tried again, pairing it with jeans and a white shirt, but something still felt off. The bag didn't suit her. It looked trendy, yes, but it wasn't timeless. It belonged to a moment, not to her story. She took it to brunch once, received a polite, "That's bold," from a friend, and never carried it again. It sat on her dresser like a souvenir from a trip she hadn't really taken. That's when she realized something profound. Chasing trends had never been part of her joy. Back in her career days, she didn't buy what everyone else had. She chose what made her feel composed, capable, and grounded. Somewhere along the line, marketing had shifted from inspiring women to keeping them chasing. But at 65, Lydia had no interest in chasing anything anymore. Not approval, not fads, not fleeting excitement. She wanted pieces that lasted as long as her self-assurance did. Modern stylists are seeing the same shift. Among women over 60, quiet luxury is replacing fast fashion, clean shapes, quality materials, and timeless hues that speak softly but powerfully. The trend in 2025, they note, isn't the color of the year, it's authenticity. And nothing ages better than that. Lydia eventually replaced the neon bag with a structured suede top handle in warm sand, a tone that blended beautifully with her wardrobe, soft yet sophisticated. It carried the essence of modern design without screaming for attention. When she looked in the mirror this time, she didn't see something borrowed from the internet, she saw herself. If you've ever fallen for a knit bag only to find it collecting dust, you're not alone. We've all been drawn to the promise of feeling current. But style after 60 isn't about keeping up, it's about catching up with yourself. The best trends are the ones that honor your comfort, grace, and individuality. Let the world chase, you can choose. Look for trend-inspired neutrals, earthy olives, soft taupes, muted golds, that keep you modern without making you a mannequin for someone else's season. When Lydia finally gave away that neon bag, she didn't feel regret. She felt relief. The bright pink wasn't just loud, it was out of sync with her calm, capable confidence. And as she placed her new neutral tote on the dresser, she smiled at how full circle it all felt. After all, it was never about the bag, it was about aligning her outer life with her inner growth, one elegant choice at a time. By the time Lydia finished sorting through her collection, the bed that once overflowed with handbags looked almost bare. Dozens of styles, totes, satchels, clutches, vintage pieces, and impulse buys had all told fragments of her life story. But now, only two remained. A structured everyday tote that carried her essentials with balance and grace, and a compact crossbody that freed her hands for the things she truly loved, gardening, travel, and long afternoons spent with her friends. It wasn't just a downsizing of clutter, it was a recalibration of self. Those two bags represented something far bigger than fashion, they symbolized freedom. Freedom from the unnecessary, from outdated expectations, from the pressure to prove herself through possessions. When she walked out the door now, there was lightness in her step. Her bag no longer tugged her shoulder or fought her rhythm. It moved with her, not against her. She noticed how her reflection had changed, not because of any drastic transformation, but because her energy had shifted. Her outfits looked more intentional, her movements easier, her confidence quieter but stronger. There was no more hesitation about what to carry or how to match it. For the first time in years, Lydia felt completely aligned. Her outer style finally reflected her inner ease. And that's the beauty of this season of life. Aging doesn't steal your style, it refines it. Every line, every choice, every detail becomes sharper, more meaningful. You start choosing not to impress, but to express. It's about simplicity that feels luxurious, and elegance that feels lived in. You realize you don't need 10 options, just the right two that truly serve your lifestyle. That's the hidden power of intentional living. Fewer decisions, more confidence, deeper joy. Lydia often says now that her two-bag rule became a philosophy for everything else. She carries less, but experiences more. She spends smarter, not faster. And she's never felt more beautiful, not because of what's on her arm, but because of what's off her shoulders. That's the shift every woman deserves to feel when she reaches this chapter, a return to ease, to self, to grace without strain. So here's the truth, aging doesn't take away style. It sharpens it. Every small decision, from the bag you carry to the shoes you wear, can become a mirror of the life you've earned. You don't have to chase youth to feel radiant, you just have to choose what reflects your now. If this message struck a chord, take a moment to lift our community higher. Tap like, hit the hype button, and share this video with another elegant woman over 60 who deserves to shine. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, because next time, we'll walk you step by step through designing the perfect two-bag wardrobe for every season, one that makes every outing lighter and every look effortless. Because at 60 and beyond, elegance isn't about effort, it's about ease, presence, and knowing that every choice you make is finally, beautifully, your own.